Okay, again, welcome to today's webinar, B-Mincome, Piloting Basic Income in the City of Barcelona. Really glad you could join us. I'm Mark Holmgren, I'm the Director of Vibrant Communities Canada, and I'm here today with Luis Torrent, Director of Planning and Innovation for the Department of Social Rights of the Barcelona City Council. And before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Luis. Luis is the Director of Planning and Innovation for the Department of Social Rights. He is also an Associate Professor of Economics at the School of International Trade in Barcelona and University of Barcelona. As a specialist in applied economics, Luis has published several studies on the European Spanish and Catalan economies. He has conducted several studies on the attraction of foreign direct investment in Barcelona and Catalonia, and the competitiveness of European metropolitan regions. In 2005, he received the X Prize Catalunya de Economia de la Société Catalana for his research on the strategies of European metropolitan regions to the EU enlargement. He is also a member of the editorial board of the Journal of Industrial Economy of the Ministry of Industry, Energy and Tourism. Luis is a member of the Red Renta Básica Network, the Spanish chapter of the Basic Income Earth Network. He has written several articles and papers about the affordability of implementing a basic income in Spain and its regions. Welcome, Luis, and thank you for joining us on today's broadcast. In a few moments, we'll get more into the details of the basic income pilot in Barcelona. But first, Luis, can you please share with us, what does the situation in Barcelona look like? Many of us have an in-depth knowledge of what poverty looks like in Canada, and particularly in our home communities. But it'd be helpful for us to get a sense of what you are facing in Barcelona and how the city is proposing a basic income in your community.
The situation in Barcelona, it's that we are in a period of recovery after the huge crisis that we have suffered between 2008 and 2013, when the real estate and financial bubble exploded, and the number of unemployed people increased from 45,000 unemployed to more than 160,000 unemployed, and the people unemployed with more than 45 years old was multiplied by 3 times, and the unemployed people with more than 2 years of unemployment situation was multiplied by 2 times. And also the situation was very difficult to the neighborhoods, the poorest neighborhoods. And for example, the neighborhoods where it resides the 10% of the population in Barcelona City, their income decreased at 27% in real terms, no? After inflation. The difference between the neighborhoods, the richest neighborhoods and the poorest neighborhoods increased a lot of. No? For example, no, the 10% of the poorest neighborhoods, in terms of population, their incomes decreased at 27% in real terms, and the income of the population in the 10% richest increased at 11%. So the ratio between richest and poorest neighborhood passed from 3.3 to 7.3 times. This is a lot of, no? It's a huge difference before and after the crisis. Also, as the real estate bubble exploited, no, we have a big problem with evictions. We are we have currently now up to 85 evictions per week, not by mortgage, but by rent apartments that are unpaid by the people that cannot to pay the rent. And this has increased a lot of also the number of people that have not an apartment or a house, no? And we have now currently 3,500 homeless that are or living in the street or in irregular settlements or in several shelters that are put by the city council or the ONG of the third sector. And also we have 75,000 food bank and social restaurants users currently. The population of Barcelona is of 1,600,000 people. So more or less the 5% of the population in Barcelona are current users of our food banks or social restaurants. So we are suffering a crisis that the recovery that we are experiencing now, it's very difficult for us to solve. This is a plan of Barcelona divided by the 73 neighborhoods. In the below is the sea, Mediterranean Sea, and you see in red colors the poorest neighborhoods, and in green colors the richest neighborhoods. As you can see, the poorest neighborhoods are concentrated in the right side. What we say the H Besòs. Besòs is a river that goes to in the right limit of the municipality of Barcelona, and also in front of the sea, except the two neighborhoods in green color in front of the sea. That one is the Olympic Village that was created in 1992 with the Olympic Games of Barcelona, and the other is the Forum area that was created brand new, in 2004 with the Forum of Cultures that was developed in Barcelona. So there are a lot of concentration of the poorness, in this kind of neighborhoods. You see here the Besòs area or Besòs hub, that these neighborhoods are marked in green-gray because they are the neighborhoods that are the goal of the B-Mincome project. These neighborhoods covers 114,000 inhabitants, 7% of the population of Barcelona, and 9% of the surface of the area of Barcelona, and they are among the poorest neighborhoods of the city. Also, as I was explaining before, it's important to know that the recovery that we are experiencing since 2013 and 2014 is not solving the problems that are in these neighborhoods, because it's a very weak recovery where the people less educated people that was hired no, were hit with the crisis, they have a lot of problems to find a new job. And the new jobs that the economy are currently creating are in a very precarious situation. No, for example, no, we have now 14% of poor workers. We have problems of low qualification in one side and overqualification in the other side. We have a lot of people with high degrees, but they are not finding a job that match their qualification. And we have also unfair distribution of all types of work, reproductive work, paid work, volunteer work. We have a big problem of gender gap between male and females. Females are their salaries are much low than the salaries of males, and we have a problem with poverty and precariousness trap, and this is one of the reasons of our project, and especially our system of subsidies have a lot of problems of non-take-up. For example, we have calculated that in Barcelona we have more or less 50,000 households or 60,000 households under the thresholds of poverty, of the line of poverty, and the minimum guaranteed income that is provided by the regional government only covers less than 3,000 households. So we have a big problem, no, to access to these subsidies, and these produce, no, a lot of collateral problems. For example, in terms of health, the difference between the richest neighborhoods and the poorest neighborhoods in terms of life expectancies is more than 8 years of life expectancy. And in terms of education, the level of dropout that is very high in Spain and also in Barcelona is almost 20%. It had 30% in the before the crisis, and the difference between richest neighborhoods and poorest neighborhoods is from 10% to 35%. So this produced, no, an intergenerational transmission of poverty. No, the less educated people, no, have less opportunities, no, to improve their situation. And this is other result, no, of these territorial inequalities. No, if you compare this map of electoral abstention with the household income, you see that with a match of, no, if a high correlation, no, the poorest neighborhoods are the neighborhoods with more abstention, no, in electoral procedures. No, so people do not vote, no, when they are suffering, no, problems, economical problems, no, for example. Okay, well, as you see, no, the inequalities in Barcelona are very, very high, and we think that we need to change the things, no, and we have made an analysis, no, of what are the situation and what kind of things we can make with our possibilities. No, we are not the central government, we are not the regional government. In Spain, as in Canada, no, the regional government are a lot of possibilities and financial resources that are higher than in local governments. But Barcelona is not a richest, it's not a rich city, but have several resources, that can apply to help to solve, this situation. And when we confront, this what to do, we have a first question, that we said the dilemma in social urban policies. I think that this is a dilemma that we have compared with other cities in Europe, but I think that in North America it's similar. That first, that when we make policies focused to improve neighborhood facilities, and their infrastructures, this creates, a bubble of housing prices, and produce a gentrification. So we have the paradox that people perhaps do not want that public sector invest in their neighborhoods, because they know that the prices of the apartments of their houses increases, and they cannot to afford this price increases. And second, if we do not focus in territories, but we focus in policies for people, for example, improving their human capital, the people that improve their situation, it's easier, that they leave their neighborhoods. So in the neighborhoods only remains people that not are improving their situation, and this, what they create is a situation of ghetto, ghettoization of the neighborhoods. So it's a problem, for policymakers, at local level, that we need to combine policies, but avoiding not to create other problems. So our project, our B-Mincome project wants to combine and tries do not create this kind of problems. So this is a slide to summarize our municipality strategy that wants to combine active and passive policies. The first is that we are reacting to the not enough policies of central and regional government level in the fight against poverty. We can divide this in two kinds of two main kinds of policies, passive policies, the minimum guaranteed income or a basic income for all citizens and households in Barcelona that are under the threshold of risk of poverty. And this is because the state, the central government and the regional government are very poor and exclude many households. The second is that in Barcelona we have a huge difference between the people that owns their own apartment and people that hires, that rent their apartments, because the prices of the apartments are growing and growing, no, with the recovery, no. They were growing a lot of before the crisis. They decreased it during the crisis, no, but now they are at the top now, no. So we need to separate housing subsidies, no, separating the owners of the renters, no. We have also the second main policies are the active policy, no. We have a agency of economic promotion that is Barcelona Activa, that wants to change their orientation from entrepreneurship to employment, no. We have also a program that its name is Labora, only focused in people at risk of exclusion, no. For example, no, people more than 45 years old, or people that are unemployed for more than 2 years, no, unemployed, no. We are also using our possibilities as one of the main buyer, no, of the city, no, and all our clauses of public procurement, no, introduces, no, social clauses, no, to improve, no, or to contract more people at risk of exclusion or social enterprise that are working with this kind of people, etc. And fourth, we are working in creating a minimum cities wage. The minimum wage in Spain is very low. It's only 207 euros per month. And in Barcelona, it's impossible to live with this income, no. So we are trying, no, to make a big agreement with social partners, trade unions, companies, etc., no, to create a minimum, no, and engage the companies to hire people with at less than this minimum cities wage, no. And we are also making some projects of public temporary hiring in collaboration with the third sector. What we say co-production, no, of public policy, no, because we know that for us it's impossible to create all the new jobs that we need. We need to eliminate the unemployment in Barcelona. So we need the private sector. No, take a part of the responsibility in creating jobs. No, and finally, we are trying not to integrate social service with the other social policies. No, labor policies, health policies, education policies. Even housing policies, of course, no? Okay. Next question.
Louis, a lot of us know that basic income's been around for a long time, and it is complicated, complex. In Manitoba in the 70s, there was a basic income experiment, and there are currently numerous social service programs in Canada that are considered basic income. In fact, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives calculated there's 33 of these kinds of programs. The idea of basic income has been picked up again recently, and there are several governments in Europe and here in Canada looking very seriously at implementing more robust basic income programs. And I'm interested if you could share with us what basic income will look like in Barcelona, what kind of model you might be using, or what the program might look like. and what it'll mean for the government and for families if this is implemented.
Well, I've explained it, no, the situation in Barcelona, no, with more than 50,000 families or households under the level of risk of poverty. So for us, it's impossible not to create the jobs to eliminate this situation. So the aim of our government, the city council government, is to ensure that any resident of our city have not secured a vital minimum, to allow him to have a decent life, but also we know that for seeking a job, that we think that is the most direct system, to integrate and to generate a better situation, that for seeking a job or training or preparing for the labor market, people should have a minimum income than allow them to focus on improving employability and avoiding them to accept having to accept any offer, because now the level of precarious offers in the job market is very high. I have a data that the wages in Barcelona and in Spain there has been reduced in more than 20%, in the past 5 years, and it's important to know that the situation of poverty and scarcity, there are a lot of psychological studies, modify totally the people behaviors. Is what the some psychologists say the narrow bandwidth, the capacity of people to decide in a rational manner is reduced impressively under the pressure of the low incomes. When you need to think every morning when you wake up, what kind of how to survive. This is impossible for the people to take strategical decisions beyond the survive feeling. So we are in our project. What the aim of the project is trying to design several kinds of basic income or minimum guaranteed income that improve the situation of the families or the receiver of or receivers of this income, that not only ensure their vital minimum, but allows these people to improve their long-term situation, not depending in a future of these subsidies of this public income. The idea of this project is to compare several kinds of incomes that has been developed in other parts of the not only of the Spanish state, but in the world. No? For example, the name of the project, B-Mincome, no? Remember the project of Mincome that was developed in Canada, no? In early the 70s, no? In Manitoba, no? And Dauphin, in the town of Dauphin, and it was one of the former projects, no? In this kind of income, but this that was stopped, this kind of projects in North America, in Canada and USA, were stopped in early the 70s. No, now they have recovered, no, at the big attention in Europe and even in Canada, but in other countries of India, Namibia, Kenya, no, in several parts of the world are considering or are making, no, some projects, no, with this kind of incomes. We have not copied, but we have learned a lot of, no, of these former projects, no, and especially, no, the projects that are developing in Europe, especially the project in Finland that has started in January of this year, and the project that are just to start in Utrecht and in Netherlands, and other projects that are started in other countries. This slide, this slide that you see, is the main features of our projects. No, which are the main goals? The first is to test and evaluate 4 passive policies and 4 active policies on target population. That we will see which is the target population, and compare them with a control group. The 4 different passive policies, minimum guaranteed income or basic income, are to complement poorest income, no? And it will be paid to 1,000 households, more or less 2,000 adults, during 2 years. And no, the specificity of our project is that we combine 2 kinds of dimensions of the passive policies. No, the current passive policies in several countries. No, the conditionality or the no conditionality and conditionality to receive the minimum guaranteed income, and the limitation or the not limitation to the other incomes that the household can receive. And these passive policies could be combined with 4 different active policies with the characteristics that these policies impacts, no, over the territory, no, the community, and generating new income not only for the family but for the community in terms of monetary income or in terms of in-kind income. No, and these are temporary public job placement, social entrepreneurship in cooperative economy, for example, subsidies to refurbish the apartments for renting rooms, and community engagement. And another characteristic of these active policies is that they will be designed, no, in collaboration with the community and even the beneficiaries. And also, and finally, no, to complement this, we wish to pay a part of these incomes in a new local or social complementary currency that we are creating, no, to increase the local multiplier of our spending. Which is the approach of the project? The first is that this basic income or minimum guaranteed income expands the freedom of the poor and their ability to take decisions. No? It expands eliminates the narrow bandwidth that we have said before. No? And we are trying to empower these people to develop their own strategies and to become less dependent of social service. The recipients will be part of an innovative ecosystem. It's the first time almost, I think in Spain, that interrelate different social policies. Passive policies, currently they are under the competence of central government or regional government, and active policies are under the competence of local governments. So we now want to combine and create the synergies between this kind of these different kind of policies. More important is that this program tries to abandon the paternalistic perspective, the charity view, and to substitute a charity view with a social right. To touch an income is not more charity, is a social right. And finally, to empower the inhabitants to design their own strategies of fighting poverty, and also that it allows to strengthen the communitarian activities, actions.
Luis, can I interrupt you for a second? Because we're running out of time. But one of the questions, Luis, I'd like to ask is you mentioned the very low income neighborhoods and how those neighborhoods don't participate fully in community life or the political process. Let's say that the minimum guaranteed income approach that you're taking in Barcelona is a great success. Can you just highlight for us what you think some of the major benefits or changes that will happen in those neighborhoods? How will basic income actually strengthen a neighborhood? We're interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, we think that these neighborhoods, for example, they are suffering huge immigration and immigration rates. They have been transformed in what we say here central station neighborhoods. People are arriving and exiting because they try to generate some kinds of incomes, but it's impossible for them. Also, the commercial network, and the community network is very low. It's very low, and we tried to reinforce this. And also, there are neighborhoods with security problems. We have neighborhoods with not the quality of the buildings is less and less it's worse, it's worsening, more and more, and I think that the problem is that people that is the feeling of the people that it's living here is that they have not the same future or the same opportunities that people that are living in other parts of the city, and this results, in for example, in a lower community participation. People do not participate in community activities, etc. So we we expect that this kind of new income can change this situation.
Okay, thank you, Luis. So, you know, here in Canada, there's a lot of debate about basic income, and a lot of us are not in agreement about what's the best way to proceed, probably because it's so complex. We're interested in knowing what's the level of public support in Spain, or at least in Barcelona, for this idea of basic income. You know, is there resistance to it? Is there growing support of it? How do you see what's going on there in terms of the general public's support of this approach?
I think that the people support to this kind of policy is higher than the political support. No, for example, for a basic income, a universal basic income, all the surveys that we have made in the past 2 years or 3 years, even in Europe, they says that there are a support of more than 60% of people that are in favor of a basic income. But the political parties, no, the main political parties, and even the trade unions, no, not only the political parties in the left, right, or in the right life, are not yet convinced of to defend a universal basic income. So they are in favor of a conditional, no, minimum guaranteed income, no, to condition, to make conditions to the people, no, in terms of to take training, to be active in the labor market, etc. No, but we think that the things are changing because every day, no, we are reading papers, we are reading articles in the journals, in the press, no, that says that the problem of automatization, the problem of robots, etc., are destroying more jobs than the new technologies are creating. So we need to think in a new system of to ensure, no, the minimum vital for the people. No? So I think that the things are changing slowly, but they are changing.
All right, thank you. So we have time for one more question from another participant. It's kind of an evaluation/research question, but if MGI works in Barcelona, do you think this will lead to a decreased dependency on social services, or alternatively, do you see basic income giving rise to different kinds of social services that might help people improve their lives?
Well, this is one of the main goal of the project, no? To show that this combination of basic income and active policies will decrease the dependency of social subsidies and social service. The current system of minimum guaranteed income in Spain, but even in Europe, have a lot of problem of poverty traps, no, and precariousness trap. What I mean with this? The poverty trap is when people, no, are receiving a subsidy, but when they try to take a job, this job reduces, no, in the same quantity the level of the subsidy that they are receiving from the public sector, no, from the administration. So the incentive to take a job is zero or almost zero, no? Because you have not only the problem that you reduces your public subsidy, but you have other costs, no, to take the job, no, food costs, transport costs, etc. So in a situation where the wages are reducing, no, as we have experienced in Barcelona, the most usual situation is that the job or the wage that you can take, it's lower or similar to the public subsidy. So the rational decision is do not accept this job, no, and remain in the situation of subsidized, no, people. So we think that if we can show that a combination, no, of not conditionality and not limitation of basic income, in a short term, sure, it will be more expensive, but in a mid-term, it will be cheaper, no, more economical in terms of economic and more social useful, no, for the people.
All right, thanks so much, Luis. That I really appreciate, as I'm sure our participants do, the time you put into this presentation and the work that you're doing in Barcelona. And I'm hoping that your office and Vibrant Communities Canada can stay in touch, and we can help learn from each other as we move forward in our respective countries around exploring basic income. So thank you so very much for spending time with us today. It's truly appreciated. I'm going to turn it over to Natasha now, who's going to just go through some quick announcements. And thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate your participation and interest in this topic.